Oh fuck. So amazing atheist, or Terosia, or TL, or whatever I'm supposed to call you. I am pretty sure I'm going to fuck this up and get the wrong effect. The effect I'm trying not to get. I really am trying to help put this whole thing to bed. Now, it's hard to make what you want to have happen. It takes a lot of practice. I tried to leave a text comment, but for some reason YouTube has decided that my text comment has a URL or an email address in it, even though there's nothing like a URL or an email address in it. So I'm just going to read it. I wrote, TLK, I am desperately trying to stay away from YouTube right now as I struggle with my own real-life deadlines. But I want to try to communicate to you that I wish you the best, whatever you may think. And also to say that this little fiasco is potentially one of the most positive turning points in your life. Gee, does that sound condescending? It is not supposed to be. And I speak not as the guy who did everything right, but as a guy who did almost nothing right until very recently. And now I'm going to keep talking, and I shouldn't, but I'm going to. We all know how that is. A couple of things about this whole thing. First of all, I feel terrible about Exiled, and I don't know how. I can't make it right, but I don't know what I could do better than I did with her. She put herself in the middle of this when I was talking to you and preparing to talk to One Less God, who asked for it. Both of you asked for it. She didn't. And you know better than I do whatever the weird dynamic was that caused her to be the one to be constantly, writing back to me. And I just desperately tried to talk to her about substance, and it kept coming back to personalities. I really wish there were a way to get rid of Jerry Springer atheism on YouTube, except that's where the views are, and there are a bunch of dysfunctional people here who won't admit they're dysfunctional, and so it will go on and on and on and never stop. But I hope that I can at least take a step away from this. But Jesus, I really wish that I were better at being friendly, or I don't know what I wish. I don't know what. I'm not a good people person, so I have a movie viewer's level of insight into human psychology. It's a one-way street for me. I can see what you're doing, but I can't make it go back and forth in a effective way. But I wish you the best, and I hope you don't keep saying that, or saying to yourself that this was a case of some people who wanted to do something and some other people who just wanted to stand on the sidelines and criticize them. There's a difference between doing the right thing and doing the wrong thing, and everything that you had proposed and the way that you proposed it was all dead wrong. And you see that now, and I'm not. Fuck. I am not trying to lord it over you or, gloat or anything like that. That wasn't the point in the first place. Ironically, in your kiss off video, you propose something that you never publicly proposed before. That's actually a good idea. Getting testimonials from people who have grown up under the thumb of domineering, oppressive, abusive religion. That's a good idea. That is a good idea. It's even a possibly workable idea to then go and try to get child services to go after people who are abusing, as opposed to trying to get a new law, the atheist's own theist law. But this isn't what I want to do. I don't want to get into that kind of thing. This is one of those moments like when your dog was sick and you did the video, and then hard case got all on your case for praying. This is a video like the responses you did, where I can see you just taking a step toward the light, toward, making your good side shine. And by good side, I don't necessarily mean some kind of, nice new Gandhi-esque you, but maybe a little bit more perspective about fuck this. I'm not even. All I can say is that that in a number of the comments that you have left here and in the video yourself, you make repeated references to how the paranoia and conspiracy aspect of the ASU's stance toward everyone who was against them ended up being a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I wish that I could say this so that it would have the force of a bolt of truth. And I wish I could say it to you and to Exiled and to all these faceless people who are undoubtedly watching this and who have this same issue. I am not trying to lord it over anybody or talk down to anybody, but I would just ask you to focus on this whole idea of self-fulfilling prophecies, because you want to do something about what was done to you, but in order to do that, you have to have a kind of self-awareness that so few people end up having, me included, about my set of issues. I never had a problem with being an atheist. It never came up in my life as something that I had to feel bad or like an underdog, or I don't know. Anyway, but the thing is, people who have been badly damaged by something, it's very easy to get them up in arms against the thing that damaged them. And look around the world, look anywhere, and see what happens in almost every case. They end up embodying the thing that they hate. And it just becomes spy versus spy, black on the white side versus, black on the white side, black on the left side versus black on the right side. It literally, it's not about fixing the problem. It's about living in the world you learned. And if we're actually, everything that the ASU was suggesting was a recipe for not owning theism or defeating theism or weakening theism, but continuing the struggle as it is, with theism as the big bad Goliath, and atheism as the twisted, tortured, miniaturized David, giving that one great act of defiance before the eagle swoops down on the mouse. It, and I don't have that. I don't have that attitude toward being an atheist, and that's one of the reasons it did not charm me at all. And I mean, at some point I got to do some more focused videos about atheism and things like that. But basically, it's not wrong to talk about organizations and cooperating and doing something useful. It's just that you gotta know whether what you're doing is actually useful. And anybody who has had any experience with like abuse victims in some other context, let's just leave theism and atheism out of it. You know, woman who grew up with abusive dad, marries a man who she thinks is Mr. Right, and and can't figure out why he started abusing her. Goes into a shelter. They give her some minor counseling. She thinks she heard what they said. She goes out on the street. She meets another guy. He's so interesting. He's just exactly her kind of guy and not at all like the abusers. And she gets together with him and he's abusing her again, and she can't figure out what's happening, you know. And the sad fact is the world is full of people who, no matter how many times they're told, you're creating a self-fulfilling. It's not a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's not the right term for it. I can't even think of the term because I don't read pop psychology, and that's about the level that this is at. But it's enabling. It's looking for what you're used to. It's engineering your own failure, which is something that I do know something about. And, you know, part of my, what I consider to be my success in life, such as it is just that I really do wish the best for everyone. Even people, not to drag Alan Watts into this again, but he made he did a number of insights about Christianity, and one of them, which I thought was kind of interesting. I mean, he kept putting words in, or he did these alternative interpretations of Jesus, you know, what Jesus really meant. Like, for instance, he believed that when Jesus said, and, you know, if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out, he was being sarcastic. And he also said, you know, that love your enemy means love your enemy as your enemy. And that is sort of the way I've always taken that to understand. It's not that you love them into oblivion or let them walk all over you. It's that you realize that your enemies make you who you are. And if you don't want to have enemies, you don't want to be who you are. If you want to beat them, you have to beat yourself. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean it that way. I'm going to cut this short. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Look, here's what it boils down to for me. You know, if I want to stay in a building instead of a box on the sidewalk, I have got work to do. I can't be paying attention if this drama reignites, and I hope to God, and that's metaphorically to God, that I'm not contributing to any kind of reignition here. This is my lame attempt at a kind of an apology back at you in a way. I mean, I'm not sorry. I am not sorry for anything that I said to you, but I am sorry for not being the magic man who could say it better or something. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. I've got to get back to work. But here's what it boils down to. I'm going to watch this once. If I can stand to put it up, I'm going to put it up. Anybody who leaves comments, I probably am not going to reply back for a few days and maybe longer. I don't know. I've got to focus on work, and it means not watching YouTube and not getting sucked into this kind of thing. But the whole ASU thing, you know, it's like it's clearly come to a head. And so this is my chance to, I don't know what I'm saying. You know, I have seen so many times people just willfully or honestly misinterpreting what I've been saying in a lot of cases, and I don't want it to be here. This is not any kind of a gloating video or I'm superior to you video or any fucking thing like that. It is not any of that.